What's up, everybody? This is John Raymond coming to you from the workshop, and we're continuing a two-part series that we've been doing on bebop scales. And in our first video, we talked about some bebop vocabulary, what it is, how to use it, and some concrete ideas to use over dominant chords. And in this video, we're going to get into things, but from the perspective of playing over major chords and with major bebop scales. So first, we talked about last week with bebop scales over dominant chords being like a Mixolydian scale with a flat 7 and a natural 7, right? With major scales, it's a little different. The additional note to make it an 8-note scale is not going to be a flat 7, it'll actually be a flat 6. So if I just play an E-flat major bebop scale, descending 1 octave, it'll sound and look like this. So like we were talking about with bebop scales over dominant chords, playing these kinds of scales over major chords is going to give you some really nice linear vocabulary that will help you play more through the changes when you're playing over major chords. So let's get to the good stuff. Let me give you 3 basic ideas just to get you going playing some major bebop vocabulary over major chords. Here's the first one. Check it out. In this example, we hear and see a descending scale, ascending arpeggio, right? We talked about this last time with dominant chords again, how prevalent this is when you hear jazz musicians using this kind of sound. You're going to often hear it in that kind of way. Descending scale, ascending arpeggio, right? Now let me give you another example here that I'm going to descend and ascend and then descend again. And what you're going to notice is that as I ascend through the scale, I'm not necessarily going to do that bebop scale. And you don't have to do it all the time, right? You can kind of weave in and out of a major scale and a major bebop scale depending on how the line is going to resolve with the chords. So check this one out. All right, so let's get into one more basic idea that can help you get going. If you want to have a little more chromaticism to this line, what we can do is actually start on the major 7th of that chord that you're on, that scale that you're on, and go from the major 7th down to the 5th, right? So you get 7, flat 7, 6, flat 6 to the 5th, right? And if you're going to put a chromatic extension on a line, similar to what we did last time with the dominant bebop scale vocabulary, this is the best way to do it, starting from the major 7th, right? So here's this line. Check it out. So now that we've got some basic information for what to do playing major bebop scale vocabulary over major chords, let's talk a little bit again about how to incorporate them, right? So we talked last time about if we're going to start on the beat, right, we can start on one of these chord tones and it's automatically going to line up on the beat with each of the chord tones because it's an 8-note scale. So that means if you want to find some different ways for you to get into this idea where you're not starting on the beat, all you need to do is start on a non-chord tone, right? Say on the and of 4 or on the and of 1, and that'll help you continue to land these lines in the right places, right? Now, what you can also do with these is you don't have to just use this scale information over major chords. You can certainly do that, but you can also use it anything over this major key center, right? So if I, for example, wanted to play one of these lines over a major 2-5-1, it's going to sound really nice, right? Check it out. I'll do that with one of the ideas we just did. All right, so now that you have a few dominant scale bebop vocabulary language ideas, as well as major bebop scale vocabulary ideas, one other thing to consider is, again, how you're going to implement this when you're playing over tunes, right? So you can put this in any of those spots directly, which I would really recommend. I think it's really smart to give yourself a clear marker of playing an idea in an exact place in a set of chord changes over a tune that you're playing. But what you can also do beyond that, once that starts to feel comfortable, is you can start to incorporate this language in any way that your ear is telling you to use it organically, right? And in that way, this language is going to start to become more of your own because you're going to use it in the way that you're hearing it lie in your phrasing. So I hope these videos have been helpful. Get a little bit deeper into the bebop scale language, both on dominant chords and major chords. If you guys have any questions, as always, let me know. I'd be happy to help any way I can. And thanks so much for checking out the video. We'll see you next time.